Hello everyone, welcome to Event Digital class. In today's class of computer organization, I am going to discuss about some new concept of cache memory which is related to the performance of the computer system, and that concept is basically used to improve the performance. Okay. So, go to the slides. So, next concept is our prefetching. Okay. In the previous class, I have already discussed about some other concept like write buffer, cache hit, cache miss, memory interleaving, all of these. So, in today class we will discuss another two new concepts. So, first one is our prefetching. So, what do you mean by prefetching actually? Fetching means to read the data from the memory, either from the cache memory or from the main memory, and brought that into the processor. And prefetching means before doing the read operation, or you can say before performing the read operation of the processor, the data has to be brought into the processor. That is called as prefetching. That means before using of that data, you can fetch that into the processor. Okay. That is why here I am writing that new data are brought into the processor when they are first needed. Okay. Then next one is our processor has to wait before the data transfer is complete. Why we actually need this prefetching concept? Because processor may wait before the data transfer is complete. That means, as I have discussed in our write buffer concept, that actually why we need that write buffer, because processor waits when the write operation specifically performed, because for doing that you have to wait for some period of time, and for that period of time processor is idle or it has no work to perform. So, to reduce that waiting period, we introduce the concept of prefetching. Okay. So, prefetching the data into the cache before they are actually needed, or before a read miss occurs. Okay. That means, when actually you have to implement the prefetching concept, that concept is used when the data has to be fetched into the cache memory before they are actually needed. That means, when the processor has to wait, if a read operation, or you can say to perform a read operation, processor has to wait for some period of time if that data which the processor wants to read from the cache memory, if that is not present in the cache, or you can say that is called as a read miss. So, to avoid a read miss, we have to prefetch the data into the cache. Okay. Then next one is our prefetching can be accomplished through software by including a special instruction in the machine language of the processor. Here, how to achieve the prefetching? Actually, prefetching can be achieved by software and also by the hardware concept. And in some processors, to achieve the prefetching, we use the concept of both software and hardware. So, when to achieve the prefetching by software, we introduce, or you can say we include some special instructions, or you can say the prefetching instructions in the machine language of the processor, or you can say when the processor executes an instruction or a program, within that program you have to insert some prefetching instructions so that processor will execute that instructions also with the other instruction. Okay. So, that is the concept of prefetching by using the software. Then actually what is the disadvantages of doing this by software is that when we add some new instructions into the machine language here, so it increases the length of the program, because let's take an example. If our program contains let 20 lines, then we insert let 5 instructions, then when the processor executes one by one instructions, then it has to execute approximately 25 instructions. Okay. So, by inserting the special instructions, or you can say the prefetching instructions, it increases the length of the program. Next one is our prefetching can be also done by using the hardware. So, it is done by using some circuits, or you can say the circuitry concepts are implemented when we achieve the prefetching by using the concept of hardware, and that circuit is basically used some patterns, and by using that pattern the memory locations which has to be prefetched, that is referenced, and that prefetches according to that pattern. That means when we use the hardware concept to perform the prefetching operation, then we have to implement some special type of circuits, and by using that circuit we discover some patterns, and that pattern is basically designed to reference the memory locations, and from that memory location which is discovered by the patterns, that has to be prefetched in the prefetching operation. Okay. And there are some processors, basically the processor is our Pentium 4, which uses both software and hardware concept. So, next one is our lock of free cache. So, why you use this concept? So, prefetching scheme does not work if it stops other access to the cache until the prefetch is completed. Sometimes, so when we performing the prefetching operation, in that the prefetching operation sometimes stops other operations which is related to the cache memory, or you can say if there is an operation which depended on that prefetching instructions, then at that point of time the processor has to be stopped, or you can say the processor is idle for that period of time. Okay. So, to overcome that we need another concept, that is our lock of free cache. So, what do you mean by that? A cache of this type is said to be locked while it services a miss. That means one is our lock of free cache, that means there is no lock. Okay. And another concept is our with lock, or you can say locked cache. So, the cache of this type is said to be locked while it services a miss. That means when the cache miss occurs, that point of time it is said to be locked. Okay. Then cache structure which supports multiple outstanding misses is called a lock of free cache. Okay. In the next point, what I have said, that when a cache miss occurs, that point of time cache is locked. But when the cache is not locked, that means it is lock free. Okay. Or you can say it is unlocked. That means multiple cache miss can be occurred, or it is possible that when the cache is unlocked or it is lock free, then at that point of time the cache may support multiple misses. Okay. So, the cache which support multiple misses is called as lock of free cache. That means in that cache structure we are not use the concept of lock, or you can say the cache is not locked. The next one is our, since only one miss can be serviced at a time, a lock of free cache must include circuits that keep track of all the outstanding misses. As we have seen in the mapping concept and also in the replacement algorithm, that only one miss can be serviced at a time, because we are using a single cache. If then in a single cache we are having one miss at a single point of time. So, to keep track of the number of cache miss, we need a circuit that counts the misses basically. Then special registers that may hold the necessary information about these misses, because as I have told you that one miss can be serviced at a single point of time, and in a lock-off-free cache there are multiple misses, or you can say a lock-off-free cache supports multiple misses. Then to hold the informations regarding that misses, we need a register, and we implement a circuit that counts the number of cache miss. So this is the concepts which are used to improve the performance of the cache memory, or you can say by improving the performance or by improving the usability of the cache memory, you can easily improve the performance of the computer system. And what are the concepts I have discussed, including my previous class, that to increase the performance we use the concept of memory interleaving, cache hit, cache miss and the miss penalty. Then next one is the use of write buffer, and in that write buffer we use two protocols, one is our write through, another one is our write back protocol. And next concept is our prefetching concept, and the last one is our lock-off free cache. Okay. So these are some concepts which are used, or you can say by considering this concept you can easily calculate the performance of a computer system. So next concept is our virtual memory concept. So what do you mean by actually virtual memory? We have cache memory, primary memory, secondary memory, all of these. Then why we actually need this and what that concept determines? That means virtual, here we used a word that is our virtual. So virtual means actually the duplicate, or you can say there is a memory but actually it is not present, or you can say it is imaginary present but physically is it absent. Okay. Actually why we need the virtual memory and how it works, that I will discuss in my lecture. Okay. So first let us see actually why we need this. As I have discussed that we are having cache memory and the cache memory size is very small, and also we are having the main memory which is also small as compared to the hard disk, or you can say some disk storage. Okay. So when we need to improve, or you can say to enhance the size of the primary memory, it is approximately not possible. Then we may need some extra space which has to be added to the primary memory to improve its size. Okay. So for that reason the extra space where it will come, that means the extra memory space has to be brought from the hard disk, or you can say from the disk storage, and that is considered as a primary memory. But actually it is not primary memory, but it works as a primary memory. Okay. That is why it is called as the virtual memory. As I have told you, the physical main memory is not as large as the address space spanned by an address issued by the processor. Okay. If the processor size is our let 64 bit, that means 2 to the power 64 number of addresses it can generate. Okay. So the physical main memory which we have, or you can say the size of the RAM is not sufficient to store, or you can say the address space which is generated by the processor it cannot be mapped in that physical main memory which is present in our computer system. Okay. So when a program does not completely fit into the main memory, the parts of it not currently being executed are stored on secondary storage devices such as magnetic disk. Okay. If some program which is of huge size, or you can say if let the RAM size is our 4 GB and we are having a program or a software which is of size 5 GB, then you cannot store that in the main memory. Then at that point of time you may need the secondary storage device to store that program So, the operating system moves programs and data automatically between the main memory and secondary storage. So, this process is known as swapping. So, actually how we move the data or the programs which are stored in the secondary storage into the main memory, that is done by the operating system. Okay. So, that technique is called as our swapping. You will study this virtual memory concept in the operating system subject very clearly, but we are having only small part of virtual memory in our computer organization concept. Okay. So, next one is our techniques that automatically move program and data blocks into the physical main memory when they are required for execution are called virtual memory techniques. Okay. So, what do you mean by virtual memory technique? That means actually the operating system moves the program by using the technique swapping, but when it performs automatically that swapping process, or you can say automatically moving of the program from the hard disk, or you can say the disk storage into the physical main memory, then that is called as our virtual memory technique. Then the binary addresses that the processor issues for either instructions or data are called virtual or logical address. Okay. So, if a computer system holds or it supports the virtual memory concept, then the binary address which is generated by the processor for the instructions or the data are called as virtual or logical address. But when I have discussed about the mapping concept, that point also I have used the concept of address, and in that address is called as our physical address. So, here we are using the virtual memory concept. Okay. So, the address which is generated by the processor here is called as the logical address. So, we have to convert or we have to translate that logical address into the physical address, because the cache memory or the main memory, it understands the physical address. So, we have to translate this into the address format of the cache memory or the main memory. Okay. So, if a virtual address refers to a part of the program or data space that is currently in the physical memory, then the content of the appropriate location in the main memory are accessed immediately. Okay. So, if the processor issues a virtual address and that address refers to a part of the program and that program is already in the physical memory, then there is no need to fetch that from the hard disk into the main memory again, because it is already present in the physical memory. So, the appropriate location in that main memory is accessed immediately. Okay. So, on the other hand, if the reference address is not in the main memory, then its contents must be brought into a suitable location in the memory before they can be used. If it is present, or you can say the address which is referenced by the processor, if that is present in the physical memory, then the content of that address are accessed immediately. But if it is not present in the main memory, then its contents must be brought into the main memory before they can be used. Okay. So, this is the virtual memory organization as you can see here. So, in between processor and cache, we use the concept of memory management unit, MMU. Okay. Here you can see MMU is here. So, cache memory and main memory and disk storage. So, to transfer the data from the disk storage into the main memory, the concept we use is called as direct memory access or DMA, because here I have discussed that if it is not present, then the contents must be brought into a suitable location in the main memory. So, To find that memory location, we used a concept called as direct memory access, which I will discuss in my further classes. Okay. So, this is the virtual memory organization and a special hardware unit called as the memory management unit or MMU, which translates the virtual address into the physical address. Okay. So, if the data are not in the main memory, then the MMU causes the operating system to bring the data into the memory from the disk. So, this memory management unit is basically controlled by the operating system, and if the data which is referenced by the processor by using the virtual address generate, then the memory management unit sends a request to the operating system that the data is not present in the main memory. So, it brings the data into the memory from the disk before it is used. Okay. So, that is managed by the operating systems. Then the direct memory access or DMA scheme is used to perform the data transfer between the disk and the main memory. Okay. So, about the DMA we will discuss when we will discuss about the pipelining concept. Okay. So, this is all about the concept of virtual memory, and what we have seen in the virtual memory, basically the virtual memory is used to increment the size of the physical main memory, and to get that virtual memory accessed, the processor generates a virtual address, and as we know that the cache memory and the main memory understands the physical address, then we use the concept of memory management unit, which is managed by the operating system, and by using that unit we translate the virtual address into the physical address, and by using that physical address you can easily access the data or information which is stored in the cache memory and also in the main memory. And if that data is not present in the main memory, then by using another technique which is called as direct memory access, move the data, or you can say we transfer the data from the disk storage into the main memory, and from the main memory into the cache, which is done by the mapping techniques, okay, which I have already discussed in my previous lectures, and then from the cache to the processor, and also you can transfer the data directly from the main memory to the processor. But if the computer system supports the virtual memory concept, then the processor generates the virtual address, and we need the hardware, it is called as the MMU, to translate that into the physical address. And actually, where is the virtual memory placed? It is a part of the disk storage which acts as the primary memory, but it is actually not the physical main memory. Okay. So, if you have any doubt, then you can mention it in the comment section. Till then, thank you.